Hey guys, so this week is a little bit of a continuation from last week in the sense that I am using the color palette that I made in last week's video, and I am testing out some of the colors and doing a glazing chart. And if you aren't already familiar with what a glazing chart is, it's basically where you you make a grid, obviously, based off of the number of colors that you have and want to test, and you put down an initial layer of colors, as you can see I'm beginning to do here, and later on, once the first layer of colors have dried, you'll go through and you'll overlap colors depending off of the row and column that they're in. So to give you a bit of an example, in the second row across and second column down, what I would be doing in that column is filling it in with two of the same colored blues, because the row and the column correspond with the same color. But if I were to go over one row, or one column I should say, into row 2 column 3, then I would be overlapping the darker blue that you can see on the left with the lighter blue that's on the top. And I'm basically testing to see how the colors intermingle and change based off of what color is laid on top of what. And this is something that I've seen a couple of artist YouTubers that I watch do, and I've never really done something like technical like this before, like testing to see how my watercolors work together. I've always just used my watercolors, and so I thought that this would be a really good way for me to learn more about my watercolors and the different ways that I can use them in the future. So now that I've outlined the colors that I'm going to be using and what column and row they're going to be in, what I'm going to be doing now is just filling in the rows based off of the color that's located on the side. And I just continue doing that until I finish up with all of the colors and I have a nice solid line for each one. now that I've got my first layer of colors down in the columns, I'm going to be going through and doing more or less the same thing that I did for the columns, or the rows I should say, and I'm going to be filling in the columns now, so overlapping the colors that I put down for the rows with the colors that correspond to the columns. And I probably should have done it box by box rather than in long stripes like I did for the columns, but all in all, I think it ended up giving me the information that I needed about how the colors will look together. I just think that certain colors look kind of muddier than they should, and so I think that's just something for me to keep in mind when I'm working with my watercolors later on, or if I plan on making another one of these charts later on in the future, just to remember to not streak them and make sure that I'm glazing just one color at a time rather than, you know, entire lines, that in avoiding making the colors look really muddy. Just as a quick side note, I think you should know that off camera, after I finished filming this video, I went back and I did some kind of test runs of glazing some colors individually, like I said I should have done earlier in the video, and just kind of went through and laid down some colors, let them dry, and then glazed them over with other colors to see if they would turn out a little less muddy than they were in the chart. And you'll see right now that they actually turned out really, really nicely. Some of the colors turned out a bit better than others, but I think that was just the natural way the colors work together rather than, you know, a mistake in technique or how I did it. So I'm actually fairly happy with how this turned out. And here we have the finished glazing chart and swatches that I can use for my reference whenever I'm working with watercolor. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I come out with new videos every single week. And as always, I will see you all next time. Bye!